Hello everyone, my name is Ms. Hoft, and today I will be teaching a lesson to 4th graders on the importance of place values and decimal points. In order to teach this lesson today, I will be using the book Place Value by David Adler. This book is a much more informational book. On the front cover, it has the place value positions and the meanings already enumerated right there. It begins with talking about the importance of placement in any sort of daily scenario. The first page talks about the placement of letters compared to numbers, and then one of the later pages talks about the importance of placement in letters when it comes to words. So the monkeys compare pot to top, switching around the letters and seeing how that makes a different word. And further on in the book, it goes into the importance of place value and how important it is to have the right number in the right position so that you are always making the right numerical value. On this page, it compares the placement of the 7. So we have the 7 in the ones place versus the 7 in the thousands place, and just how much of a difference that can make when you're actually talking about numbers. While teaching this lesson today, I will be focusing on the TEKS from Section 2, which is Numbers and Operations. This TEKS specifically focuses on place value positions and decimal points. So it talks about students being able to compare how the place values positions are either 10 times more or 10 times less compared to the ones next to it. It also talks about students being able to use visual and concrete models in order to show their knowledge of place value positions and knowledge of money and decimal points, which are the things I will be focusing on the most during this lesson. The objectives I have for my students are, number 1, to be able to demonstrate their knowledge of place value positions. Number 2, to be able to utilize math blocks in order to show their understanding of place value positions. And then number 3, to be able to solve problems that I, as the teacher, will provide to them using place value positions. One of the most important things with this place values is just ensuring that they understand the importance of having each number in the correct numerical position in the place value chart. This book is also incredibly valuable because it has ample examples of the place value chart that the students can model their own place value charts off of. So we have ones, tens, hundreds. This is something that I will have my students do as well once we begin the worksheet. At the beginning of the lesson, I will be reading them the book, Place Value, and just getting them into the mindset of place value positions and the importance of having the correct numbers in the correct place value position. After this, I will start a discussion with my students, just asking them, have you ever put the right number in the wrong position or thought 600 was accidentally 60? When have you gone shopping? Have you ever noticed the decimal point when you go shopping in terms of the price? What does that mean when something's to the left versus to the right of the decimal point? So getting an idea of what their prior knowledge might be and getting to know where each student is at in terms of place value positions. The next thing that I will do is I will go up to the board and I will start to write a place value position chart on the board and just begin to model what sort of questions my worksheets and the activities we'll be doing out throughout the day will end up looking like. Especially after having read the book, I believe it's important that students understand what I expect when I say a place value chart. So I will draw this on the board in order to show them what each place value position stands for and the importance of having the decimal there to differentiate which is whole numbers and which is just parts of numbers. After I write the place value chart, I will ask the students to give me a number and we will put it in the place value chart together. So if they say something like 53, I'll put 10s, 5 in the 10s, 3 in the 1s, and I will do that with any number they could possibly give me, just to show them the importance of having everything in the place value chart and how one number goes into each position. You cannot have multiple numbers in each spot. The next thing I will do is I will show them the importance of having the correct number in the correct position. and how the same number can mean very different things when it's in a very different place value position. So here I have 530 and 305. I would start with the 530, writing it correctly into the place value chart that will be much more extended, and showing how the 5 in the hundreds place represents the 5 100 blocks. At this point, my students will be familiar with using math blocks, and I will explain to them what each of these symbols stands for. The 3 in the tens place represents the 3 10 blocks down here. And then the 0 ones is there's no ones. I will leave this up on the board and have my students help me in writing and drawing and demonstrating this model. On the other half of the board, I will have 305 in a separate place value chart. And then I will have the students direct me in how to draw the visual model of it as well. At this point, with having them side by side, I'm going to ask my students to compare which of these visual models has more and less, to help them determine for themselves the difference between having a 5 in the 100s place versus having a 5 in the ones place, and how the values are noticeably different between the two. At this point, I have now shown the students what it means to put a number into the place value chart in the correct place value positions, and what it means to draw a visual model of each place value position. The next thing I'm going to have them do is work on a worksheet. At this point, I'm going to introduce the worksheet that I have created, and the worksheet itself is just a bunch of numbers with the same numbers in different place value positions. What I'm going to have them do is have the students draw out their own place value chart for each of the different questions, fill out where each number should go, having the labels also just for clarification's sake. And then at the bottom of the worksheet, I am going to have them draw out each of the numbers in the manipulative form like this in each visual model. I believe this will help students understand more concretely the difference between having more and having less, and how much the place value position can really affect how much a number is worth. We have now hit the point of during the lesson, or just during the activity. At this point, the students will begin to work in pairs on this worksheet that I have created, working on filling out the place value chart, working on drawing out the visual models. Once they have completed drawing the visual models, they can come to me and have me check their answers. If they have any questions throughout the process, they can come to me for questions. At this point, I want to use talk moves, have them try and understand for themselves, ask questions, think it through, figure out why they think that they're wrong, why they think that they're right, and they will have their math blocks also handy with them at their desk with their partners so that they can use them as hands-on manipulative models and just a reference to draw this visual model for themselves. Once the students have properly completed the first part of the worksheet, which just works with regular numbers, I will take a break with the independent/partner practice, and I will bring the students back to attention, and I will go up to the board again and show them how place values works in terms of money. I will describe how everything to the left of the decimal is still the same, but everything to the right of the decimal now signifies dimes and pennies. So how it signifies full dollars and cents instead of just parts of a whole number. I will then explain how to draw the visual models of money, where we have different size bills with the number of the amount drawn or written on them, and then having dimes and pennies as visuals instead of having just different size blocks. After this, I will have the students grab their money manipulatives now to use as reference materials, and I will have the students take their money manipulatives back to their partner and their desk and finish the second half of the worksheet, which is the same concept, having the students put the money values into a place value chart, and then having them use the draw out a visual model of the amount of money that they have, using the manipulatives as a reference point. Once the students have completed these sides of the worksheets, or we have just run out of independent partner time, I will bring the students back to attention. This is more the after lesson part. I will have the entire class come together to discuss just go through the answers of all of the questions, what each one should look like, while also having each of the students tell me which problems they found the easiest and which problems they found the most challenging. Here and together, we will identify where the problems might be, where the miscommunications are, and have the students just work off of each other. I will have the students try to explain to each other where the miscommunications might be, how they thought of the problem so that they could get it right. After we have this discussion, we'll talk about more just about how important place value positions are and make sure that the students really hone in on the idea that each place value position has a different numerical worth, and how putting a number in each different place can really affect the numerical value. At this point, we'll probably be at the end of the day, end of the lesson, and I will have another worksheet doing pretty much the exact same thing, having the numbers, having the students fill out the place value chart and drawing it and labeling it themselves, and then having them draw a visual model. There will be another worksheet like this that I will send home with the students as homework.